Welcome to United Jews channel.
Yeah, so there is something to say about a lot of immigrants from Soviet Union. They're afraid that, for example, the upcoming election may bring Biden and socialism to the United States. There is nothing wrong with having a social capitalism like compact where you have some benefits that are available to everybody and that can provide the basic structure. For example, case point, I'm actually part of this training program where we work on personal development and team management and leadership. And we work with groups around the country, with people around the country. Some people are able to create these structures even today, even in the states where they are not very welcoming. Like one case point, there was a discovery by one individual that there is no universal preschool in the state of Texas. I don't think there is even a universal preschool in the state of California either. So he decided to get involved in this process. He decided to ask the question, what would it take to create a universal preschool opportunity for kids in the state? He started connecting with people, started conversations. A year later, he actually had Texas legislature last year in June passed a $25 million initial funding to start universal preschool for the entire state. So when you have opportunities presented at that basic level, like when the kids are actually before even going to the elementary school, and they're equal opportunities to everybody, universal preschool, then realize that these individuals will eventually graduate and go to school and will have much better opportunities to succeed in life. So this is actually pure socialism element. Like, who is paying for it? Taxpayers, obviously.
It's not.
But the investment that you do on the level of an entity like, let's say, state government is minuscule if you divide it by number of people who participate. Even if you don't have a kid who is of preschool age, having a neighbor who had a kid who went to that universal preschool, that neighbor will have a better economic opportunity to earn better living. That kid will have better educational opportunity to become a better person.
About universal healthcare.
So and universal healthcare is another situation that is like a taboo subject for some reason. Every single developed nation around the world has it, except the United States.
Kirill, may I interrupt you?
Yes.
Kirill, may I interrupt you?
Please.
I just wanted to mention about schools, a very important point. I live in San Francisco, and San Francisco is a very unique city. I live in the neighborhood. We own a house. We have the best schools near my house, the best. However, we have opportunities for all programs, and therefore, my kids cannot get there. My kids cannot get to those schools. We're trying year after year to get our kids to the neighborhood schools. We can't, because the priority is always, who is the priority goes for, okay? If you are Black, you have actually more opportunities in my neighborhood.
What about Hebrew schools?
Hebrew schools, we don't actually have a Hebrew school. It got closed in San Francisco. So I'm just saying.
You have to pay.
Well, I have to pay, but free schools, I pay, right? I mean, we have our own house, pay taxes. My kids cannot get to the school in my neighborhood. Why? Tell me why. Why is it like this? That's why we have so many private schools in the city, because of this reason. And don't tell me these kids have opportunities. Black kids have all the opportunities in San Francisco. They can get to any good school they want. Okay, and still it's not enough. Okay, for them it's not enough. There's still some kind of, I still have a privilege for some reason. What kind of privilege if my kids cannot get to the school where I live? Tell me. And for year after year, I'm trying, it's with elementary, middle, high school, same thing. This is so tiring. And by the way, I have 4 children. I have 4 children.
I hear your frustration, and it's actually very loud and clear. And it actually goes back to my original point. that the government is the way how they're behaving right now. They decide not, instead of solving a problem, they decide to paper over a problem. They decide to pass a law on quotas. They decide to pass busing people from different school districts, as opposed to developing schools in their own districts.
Well, and
This is a screwed up bureaucracy that lives on its own, like it feeds itself. Like if you imagine, I don't know if any of you are working for the state government. I actually had an opportunity to do that at one point. They have this interesting situations that at the end of the year, if you do not spend the money allocated to the program, you have to spend all the money because next year they will allocate you less. So bureaucracy and corruption is a very big thing, and it's unfortunate because they would, as opposed to just creating this crazy situations what you have in San Francisco. I grew up in San Francisco. I know what it looks like. I remember going, and we went to the same school together. I think. Well, we went at least for the first time. For the first while, I went to a Hebrew Academy, but then I had my differences with the head rabbi, and I had to leave there for my final year.
And San Francisco, apparently, the Hebrew school is even closed, and that's pretty much unheard
Well,
of.
yeah, I know, but at that time, they was still open. In the early 1990s, it was open, and I was there for the first 3 years of my high school, and for the senior year, I had to leave because we had a significant difference of opinion between me and Rabbi Listener, so I could not stay there any longer.
And for Tatiana, it's like the Hebrew school, you paying taxes, and why wouldn't the Hebrew school be funded by the
I want the voucher. I want the voucher. I want to go anywhere I want.
Yes. And actually it isn't, you know, the text actually it is within your right. You just need to know how to ask for it. There is actually I would really invite you all who are interested to investigate a very interesting agency in South. It's actually located in San Jose, the closest location where you can get to it. It's called Parents Helping Parents. It's a nonprofit whose mission it is to help parents of children who find themselves and they're not fitting into the norm. They can be disabled, or they can be what is the term? Extraordinary, whatever the case may be. They can connect you with ways how you yourself can apply to different agencies and get the government bureaucracy work on your side. You want a voucher, you get a voucher. You want your kid to go to a private school, you can go to the private school. I was actually fortunate enough, well, it was unfortunate at the same time with my kid's situation, but my kid actually was sent to a private school at the expense of the school district. So
is your kid special? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, yes, my kid is on diagnosis on being on the spectrum of autism.
Okay.
So there are available programs. You just and it's ridiculous. This is another thing that I hate about the United States systems, the way how they're set up. Everything is out there. Everything is available, but you have no idea how to ask for it until you bang on every single door and continue banging on them forever and ever. So I'm actually thinking, yeah. So there is actually an opportunity there. If you want really to have your kids to go to a certain school and you cannot get there, reach out. There's no harm in there.
You know, I remember going to school district and being there several times a year. I was on a wait list, every wait list. I was on every appeal. I was talking to the head of the department. Everything is useless, absolutely useless. It's like it's a bureaucracy it's a wall.
Yeah, it's a bureaucracy that feeds itself. I know. And you did everything correct, and you would have normally done what we normally would have done. But there are still ways to get to have the same people talk to you and actually respond first as well.
I want to live in a society where everything works normal, when I don't have to know the ways to go, you know, like the little way, the back door that nobody else knows. Somebody told me, you know, like whispered in my ear, you can go there, you can do that. Yeah, I don't want this.
Okay.
Oh, that's not the United
Um,
Yeah, that's
Sorry?
Russia, actually. That's Soviet Union. Yes, they would tell you, whisper in your ear, like where to go. Just pay that much money, like 100 rubles, and you can get to whatever. You know, I don't want to live back there. You know, I want to live in a democratic society with all the choices I can have. So voucher is for me.
and yeah, voucher, yes, you should apply for one.
As
And
of
if he doesn't give it to you, write your. Also, another situation, you can actually speak to your local elected representatives. I'm on the first name basis with Jackie Spear at one point, who is the representative for the San Mateo County where I live.
I don't know. It sounds too complicated, and if I
It
get
is
it,
work.
if
Yeah,
I get it done just for me, I see it much bigger. You know, I want to fight for all. I don't want to fight just for me.
Mhm.
So, can we guys discuss this very touchy point? Are Russian Jews racist or not?
Yes, they are.
Oh yes, they are.
not, I don't know your circles. I honestly don't know your circles.
I would actually disagree with that. Some are and some aren't. Just people.
Large swaths of people actually are. It's really apparent if you visit any large congregations even on the street, and listen. Just walk casually on Gary Street when on the pre-COVID days, and listen to people talking to each other. How this person looks like that, and that person looks like that, and it's just like, really? And you and they look at you probably, and they probably discuss you just as well. So who gives you the right to label them as being something less than you? Or even go one step farther, go to Brighton Beach. That's a place where you go and walk on the boardwalk in the evening where all the restaurants are open, and just casually walk by and listen to what people are saying. It's amazing. It's eye-popping, amazing situation. You're like looking, what in the world is this country? What is this? This is definitely not the United States of America. This is some sort of a bastardized version of Soviet Union, where everybody is supposedly friendly, but at the same time, I don't have to repeat myself here, but everybody knows certain jokes that were against people from Caucasus or Jews or Ukrainians or anyone who was not a full member of the RSFSR and actually Russian by birth and everything else. So yeah, it's there, but not all of us. Like
our children notice this, and they don't want to have anything to do with this.
Well, actually, it was noticed not only by our children, it was noticed by Facebook, and that's why the Tsorikov's community was deleted.
That is
because of lots of racist contributions.
I take offense at that. Today there was no Tsodikov immediately kicked out anyone. If there was even slight racism in the state, there was nothing on it. Anybody who posted a racist statement was gone from the Facebook from that group immediately. That is, I read it every day, and what you said is the opposite of truth. It's complete opposite of truth. Sodikov never allowed a dash of racism in English or in Russian.
I'm sorry to tell you that Facebook is not the only social platform in existence, and there are the most active ones, especially that is used among the young people. It's Tumblr and Discord, and I'm plugged into those because, well, I sometimes engage into conversations with friends of my kid on the matter of their parents, and there is blatant elitism, racism is there because there is no moderation. Like Facebook, private organization, Sodikov with his Facebook group, even more strict private discussion group. it does not represent. It's like, again, we're living in San Francisco and thinking that you live in America. We're not. We're living in its own little island that is called the Bay Area.
Well, so we are here. Okay, so currently I'm still living in Cupertino. You know, this is Charlotte, North Carolina, where we're sitting now. Most of my relatives are somewhere in the Midwest, not just Omaha, Nebraska. That's still where my parents are. You know, there was never racist discussion from any table that I was ever at, neither with my relatives, neither with parents' friends, nor with my friends. I don't know. Maybe I don't frequent Brighton Beach enough, but nowhere where I sat was there racist discussion. People were intelligent. People treat other people as human beings. And I honestly, I don't know that's going to happen.
Well, I can say that for espousing the views closer to mine about the colorblind society and not supporting the Black Lives Matter as a sort of a reverse racist organization and not supporting affirmative action, me, myself, and many of my friends have been branded racist. So the word racist doesn't mean anything today. It's something that people choose to call each other, which has nothing to do with their views. So it goes right above my head. I just don't listen to this stuff.
Well,
I agree. Anything you say, racist is the next word you hear.
Exactly.
Sort of the point.
and
Anything.
Merriam-Webster Dictionary recently redefined racist to align it more with BLM views.
Really?
Which reminded me, yes, they did, which reminded me of 1984, which I read in high school, when Winston Smith discusses the redefinition of the word freedom in the Newspeak Dictionary, where
freedom is slavery.
It no longer meant freedom. Yeah. So right now they redefined racism where it means the opposite. If you treat all people the same regardless of color, now you're racist.
Wow. I don't
so
know.
Yeah, in that context, if you ask and say, are Soviet Jews racist? The answer is yes. But in a normal context, I think the answer is kind of not yes.
I mean, of course there are racist people amongst them.
Not everybody.
Yeah, they're people.
Yeah, not everybody is. Yeah, not everybody is painted with the same big brush, of course. And it is actually up to individuals who wants to change that perception to be the shining light, to state that we are against it and we are actually for equality and humanism. Like I was accused of on one discussion thread of asking people to treat each other not on the basis of who they are as one person to another or black or white, it doesn't matter, but actually assess each other on their human equity, where everybody has equal. And I was accused of proposing unrealistic views that are based in fantasies of Karl Marx level Marxists. If we start treating, if we lead by example of actually treating people based on human equity, then we can influence others to do the same, and they can influence that more and more and more, and in the whole world will change. There's always am I realistic about it's going to happen tomorrow? Absolutely not. I'm not that naive, but at the same time, I'm saying that this is a possibility, and I'm actually standing for that possibility to make happen.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. This is how I treat people all my life, and this is how I'm going to treat people for the rest of my life. So that's whether it can come or not. I very much hope, but this is how I naturally treat people.
Yeah, and actually, one of the suggestions, not that we have to apply to this suggestion, but this is something I also read in many places, is that how you lead by example. You lead by example by personally sharing your experience. Like, be not to be selective about who you meet, but if you meet people and you talk to them, share about your experience, share who you are with others, and influence them to be on your side, and that will create. I think actually is in the book Outliers. It will create an epidemic. It will create an epidemic of. No, actually, I'm thinking it's a different book. It's also another Malcolm Gladwell's book, by the way. That once you become an influencer, you can create an epidemic level of influence to others, and others inviting others, and creating a better world.
Well, that's what we're doing right now.
Exactly, and we're definitely building on that, and it's great.
Yeah, I was going to say that Facebook, unfortunately, is not a good platform for that.
Oh no,
it's not.
Well, there is MeWe. There are several groups there.
Yeah, MeWe. It's kind of pathetic, but yeah.
And all of this, nothing replaces an eye-to-eye conversation. Like a post on a social platform is just that. It's impersonal. It is frozen in time. It is not real interaction. I cannot share with you my personal life experience in a post. Well, I can attempt to say like, this is what I am for, and what, but at the same time, this is me telling you, not allowing you to listen to me. You may read my post, you may ignore my post. You can just go comment because of the previous history. Let's say, like we had an adversarial conversation before. You can immediately bypass my post and go to the comment and saying whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it is, but so there is no connection. Like when you have connections in this day and age of technology, we're like thinking, yeah, we're so connected. We have Facebook, we have all these different platforms, Twitter, as messaging. We are so far apart from each other. Remember growing up in the Soviet Union, how everything was done in my when I grew up in Moldavanka, Odessa, like in our common area between houses, all of the drama was solved there. We had our own criminals, we had our own drunkards, we had our own police or militia, we had our own hooligans, we had our own everything, and everything was settled right in there. And everybody knew what is, and everybody respected decisions. And now we are like living in this beautiful place called United States, but we are so far apart from each other. My house is my castle, it is overreaching concept that everybody is ascribing to here. It's just ridiculously amazing to me. Like, how can people live here?
Looks like you miss Soviet Union.
I miss the neighborhood level of discussion. Like this is a neighborhood. Like what we're here right now. We have a few people face to face. We have a neighborly discussion point. We're not fighting in each other. Even though go to Facebook, you'll read my post. I'll read your post, Tatiana, and they're like, "Oh my God! So I really know this person from high school, or do they just know?"
I am just so surprised to have a civil conversation with you. You know, looking you in the eye.
Right, he's a nice
exactly.
guy.
I mean,
yeah,
turns out he's not bad, huh?
Well, we know each other from way before, but we've forgotten who we are. That's all.
Yes, it's true.
Actually,
yeah, nothing replaces the interaction of face to face, either by video chat or in person in the days of hopefully post-COVID, if they ever reach that stage.
Well, while we can we do more of these recordings? And there are lots of things we can discuss.
Take care.
All right, guys. Thanks, everyone. It's time to go. Thank you. Until the next session. Bye.